Hi, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. I am very happy to be able to say congratulations to the Martin Middle School Chargers on winning another state championship in baseball. And I can't begin to know what it feels like, but if you're on the team, you already know what we're talking about. If you're a part of the team, you know that this is really a big deal. And the baseball coach here at Martin Middle School is a very, very nice guy and a hard worker. And this is Aaron Knott. And, Coach, first off, congratulations on winning back-to-back state championships. Tell me about it.
Thank you, Paul. When I started this, I was asked to continue the baseball program 10 years ago. You can't envision this. You just want to do things the right way, teach kids how to do things the right way, respect the game. Hopefully you win a bunch of ball games, but ultimately you try to prepare them to get them ready for the next phase in life and to get them ready to play high school baseball when their number is called at the next level.
Yeah. Did you ever think you would be coaching state championship baseball teams?
No, sir. I sure did not. I've been very blessed, very fortunate to have some really good athletes that walk through the halls of Martin Middle School.
How'd you get into coaching baseball?
I grew up playing baseball since I put a glove on when I was 3, like most Americans, growing up before the days of cell phones and distractions.
And was always too small for the beginning of it.
Always, yes, sir. And I played baseball until the game of baseball told me it didn't want me to play it anymore at 24, I think it was.
What part of your body got hurt?
All of it. All of it. I've had shoulder surgeries and elbow surgeries, and, I just wasn't big enough to play at the next level, but it was fine.
Okay, how'd you get to Martin Middle School?
I grew up in Greenfield, and so Weakley County in my entire life. I went to UTM, graduated there with a degree in communications, went to Nashville, as my dad would say, went chasing money, not happiness, and decided up there that was not a life for me. Moved back down here, got my teaching degree, and one thing led to another, and through a couple of mutual friends was able to walk through the doors at Martin Middle School and be blessed to teach English. And while I was there, during my interview, Coach Holmes, who was the then principal, said, "Are you interested in coaching anything?" And I said, "Well, whatever you need me to do." And he said, "Good. I've listed you as the baseball coach and the assistant football coach." And I said, "Coach Holmes, my brother's the football coach." He said, "It's fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." So here we are 10 years later.
And you won a state championship last year with a couple of the kids who are in the room with us. We'll talk about those in just a couple of moments. But when did you know that you wanted to do this? Not because you were asked to do it, but you wanted to do it.
It's one of those things that's probably been in my blood since I had phenomenal teachers like Mr. Mike Biggs, and in high school, and I had Miss Barbara Aiken, who just recently passed. She was a massive influence on my brother and myself. And it's one of those things where you feel it, and then you try to go against it because you hear how much hard work is involved and how little favor is paid on to teachers. So I thought, well, I'll go chase dollars. And that didn't make me happy.
So Martin Middle School has won, not one, but 2 back-to-back. This is kind of unheard of in some respects, but this middle school program is pretty good at what it does, and it has some really good kids that want to be the best.
Yes, sir. They come to work every day ready to get better, and more importantly, they're ready to make everybody else around them better.
You have 2 players that are now graduating from the 8th grade. 7 kids? How many kids, seniors, do you have that are coming off?
I have 6
seniors. Okay.
6 8th graders. Would you like for me to mention them now?
Sure,
okay.
It'll be fine.
I have Graham Simpson, Kason Spalding, Cohen McWhirter, Max Mobley, who were on the field every pitch. And then I had Bryson Connell, who contributed in ways that just are very hard to put into, maybe not on the field, but in the dugout. He's the guy you go to where you ask him, "Bryson, what's going on?" And he'll say, "Well, this guy last time hit it to the shortstop, so that's what we need to think about." He knew. And then I had Ben Drury, who had some time on the field and in the dugout. So those are my 8th graders.
And the rest of the class, the 7th graders, includes?
Eli Estes, Colin Haskins, Charlie Sutherland, Wes Hatler, William Baker, Logan Tucker. Trying to don't put me on the spot here.
You got help here, so if we miss somebody.
Don't put me on the spot here. I think that's it. Let me run over it again. Charlie, Eli, Colin, William, Wes, Logan. Please don't let me forget anybody. If I do, I apologize.
Well, let me move forward here to this, and I want to start with Graham Simpson, who's here. Graham, how many years have you been playing baseball?
So, I think since I was 3 years old, so 12, 13 years.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, you are a multi-sport athlete right now. Is there one really that you like better than the other, or is it, hey, I want to go play in the summer and I want to do this. I want to do this when it's ice cold. So
football has always been my first love. So I've been playing it so much longer than I have the other two. And basketball, it's just like winter workouts. I just play it to keep my conditioning up to at least get my feet running before we get into baseball. And baseball, it may be what I'm best at, and I love it. And these past 3 years with Coach Knott have been great. Just my love for the game has grown so much since I've been with him. And, it depends which season I'm in. So if I'm in football season, I like playing the game of football. Or if I'm in baseball, I like playing baseball more than I do football. But I think high school is going to humble me a little bit, knowing that each sport crosses over with each other in the summer. But I guess we'll see this start in the fall.
Colin, let me ask you the same question. When did you just slide that? There we go. When did you know that you wanted to be playing in sports?
I grew up around sports. My dad's been coaching since I was been born. My love for basketball. Basketball is probably my favorite sport because I've been around it the longest. But I fell in love with baseball about 12 years ago during T-ball.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to believe that that period of time goes very fast, and the next thing you know, you're playing in a state championship now 2 years in a row. Tell me about how that feels.
Last year was a little nerve-wracking. First year in middle school, get to play for a state championship. Number gets called, you gotta succeed. But this year, it was a little different. I had a role in the team. It was kind of nerve-wracking, but you just got to get out there and play your best.
What's your favorite sport?
If I had to choose, it's either basketball or baseball.
Not football?
No, not really.
Will you be playing football this year again?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is that where you want to go, or do you want to go to basketball? Or do you see a future in one of those?
I think I see a future in basketball or baseball. Keep football up for lifting and my conditioning.
Mm-hmm. What position do you play most of the time?
In football?
Baseball.
I play catcher and third base.
Mm-hmm. Would you prefer to be the catcher or the third baseman?
The catcher for sure.
Well, see, I was the catcher also, and I want to say this because, the fun part about being the catcher is simply this. You always get to touch the ball. You always get a chance to make something happen. You can see everything that's going on that the pitcher can't see. Tell me about being behind the plate.
Being behind the plate's a key role. In the beginning of the year, I kind of struggled, but through the end of the year, I came through. I had to catch Graham every time, and how hard he throws, my hand was kind of hurting at the end of the game. So, yeah, every time I throw the ball, Graham would yell at me or something. So it's kind of difficult, but we came through at the end of the year.
You two fellas are close. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, sir.
So he's going to move on to the high school. You're going to be in the 8th grade.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to miss that connection, and it's going to be you out there instead of him maybe. So
yeah, it's going to be a little different. I've had him all of my years playing sports, and now it's going to be my first year without him, so it's going to be a little different.
What's it really and truly, what's it like being behind the home plate?
It's a big job. The ball's in your glove every time. Sometimes you have to block them, which, it's kind of hard. You got to practice a lot. And then you got to have a strong arm to back pick and throw dudes out at second base, so it's kind of difficult. You got to know the situation and just do your best.
Tell me about the championship game.
We played pretty good.
You played 2 games now.
Played 2 games. First game I caught, and then while Graham pitched, and he pitched pretty good. Gave up 1 run, I think, which is pretty good against that team is pretty good. I mean, they put the bat on the ball, and our outfielders and infielders made good plays.
Mm-hmm. And how about the second game?
Second game, Graham caught, and Colin McWhorter pitched. He pitched a pretty good game. He pitched 72 pitches and allowed 1 hit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which is all you can ask for. And then Max Mobley came in to pitch, and he pitched a pretty good game, too.
Tell me about Max.
Max is the third baseman. He plays first base, too. He was pretty good on for us this year, and good at the plate. He batted like 5th or 6th. I can't remember. He drove in a couple runs in the championship game, too.
Where were you in the batting lineup?
I think I was 4th.
Mm-hmm. You like being there?
Yeah, it was a difficult championship game. Eli Estes and Case and Graham got on base. Base is loaded, and I'm up there 0-2 count. And so I'm trying to put the bat on the ball to score some runs, and I did.
How's that feel?
It was relief. I mean, after getting yelled at, but the first 2 swings were kind of bad, but I came through.
Yeah. Was this a hard doubleheader?
Yeah, because of the hot sun. I mean, you had to be out there the first game for about 3 hours, and then you go cool off for about an hour, and then you get back out there for 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the night game wasn't that bad because the sun wasn't out, but still, it was kind of tough.
Colin Haskins and Graham Simpson and their coach, Aaron Knott, is with us today on our program here on 30 Minutes. We're talking about the Martin Middle School State Championship. Coach, let me follow up here for just a second. Was it hard for you? You can just leave it right there. Was it hard for you to be able to make this lineup that you put out there?
Paul, at the beginning of the year, I asked my players and I asked my parents and Coach Avery Orr, who's my assistant coach, we have a saying, don't judge us in February or March because we're working on things. We're working on team chemistry. We're working on lineups. Judge us in May. And by the time May rolls around, I tell my players about halfway through April, who we have on the field is who we are riding with, and that's where we're riding, and wherever that takes us, that's where we'll go. So Colin has batted, I think, 1st, 7th, 6th, and finally finished at 4-hole in the lineup in the cleanup spot.
What was that all about? I mean,
we had to figure out strengths, opportunities where we needed help. When you've got bats in the lineup that Colin batted leadoff, and that's great because he puts the bat on the ball and he gets on base, and then Kaysen does his job, and then you have Graham. Well, the back half of the lineup with 6th graders at that point, we weren't producing the runs we needed to produce at the times we needed to produce them. We lost a number of games this year, Paul, by 2 runs or less, and we would score 2 runs, 1 run, and we look at the box score and we have 2 hits, 3 hits. And Coach Avery Orr and I sat down and said, we have to do something. And so we thought about, well, we move Colin to the back and then Graham gets pitched around, or we move Colin up and then Max or Cohen get pitched around because we weren't getting what we needed to get out of the bottom half of the lineup. And when these kids see numbers in front of them, like what they're doing with runners on base and things like that, they realize they have to go to work too, but it's ultimately on a coach, right? I don't put a player in a position to fail. Put you in a position to give you the opportunity to succeed. And luckily for the last 3 years, 5 years, most of the time, they've succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful.
Mm-hmm. Let me piggyback that for just a moment. Is it difficult when you have to walk out there to that mound and know that you're going to have to make some adjustments either around the diamond or maybe on the pitcher's mound?
Yes, sir. Sometimes, because when you walk out there, I normally ask Avery Orr, Coach Orr, to do that. I'll just tell him, go get him. And Orr's like, okay. and he'll go out there and get him, and you can see body language from a pitcher. They want to compete so hard and so badly that they don't want to come out of the ball game. But they know by a coach's body language or a look on a coach's face that this is a talk, this is a pep talk, this may be more than a pep talk, and I may be coming out of the ball game. But if I'm coming out of the ball game, that's because I've done what they've asked me to do. I'm not ready to come out.
Graham, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Knott, it's kind of like a surprise every time you're out there on the mound. Sometimes, like, if you're playing a team, and most of us this year threw hard. We, beginning of the year, we kind of struggled. We couldn't really locate. Like, we were just getting back after basketball and all that. And I just remember the first game that I pitched, I think, we couldn't throw curveballs yet. And we were playing a team that really couldn't hit the fastball. They couldn't really get on time. And I threw a curveball, and he looks at me and just gave me the most icy stare. And he yelled out, "No!" And he just looked at me and said, "Fastballs." And then about an inning later, came out there and got me. I was like, "Oh, this is just, a pep talk. He's just going to tell me fastballs only." And next thing I know, moved around the shortstop, and I'm glad we won. We ended up winning the game. But sometimes my emotions show, and I'm glad you take me out during those moments, just because I know if I don't, my dad may whip my tail when I get home. And yeah, I'm glad he's full of surprises, but sometimes it's a curse.
Martin Middle School baseball team coach and a couple of the players on our broadcast today, Graham Simpson and Colin Haskins, and Coach Aaron Knott. Let me stay with you for just a couple of moments, Graham, and this kind of comes into what every kid wants to do and hit a home run. How hard is it to hit a home run today?
We were just talking about this on the way here. So, being a me and Ty always talk about this because Ty was able to hit a home run in high school, and I'm like, dude, you're in high school, you're a junior, it's your last year, you should be able to hit one. But we played my first at bat at the state championship game. We I think it was the second pitch I saw. I think the ball I hit, I almost flipped the bat, Paul. Like, I thought it was gone as soon as I hit it. And I look, I'm like, oh yeah, that's gone. I'm walking these bases. And I look, and that ball just went and died right on the warning track. And I think I did that 3 or 4 times this year.
Yes.
3 or 4 times. And I was so mad. And, I did a few times last year, too, at the state tournament. And you got to swing the bat hard and make sure the barrel hits the ball. It's the hardest thing to do in baseball, at least at the middle school.
Don't they still coach to run it out no matter what?
Yes,
okay.
yes, they do, Paul. Absolutely, we do.
I may have gotten a stare down when I got to third base after that hit, and he was excited, but he said you would have scored if you would have ran. And, may have gotten taken out a couple of times when I haven't ran one out, especially my 6th grade year when I got benched. But, yeah, he humbled me a little bit, which let me play a little bit better the next time I went in.
Yeah, let me slide down here to Colin here for just a couple of moments. Colin, that's another topic but tell me about practice, what it's like, and does it get old when you're out there knowing that you're doing the same thing?
No, not really. Tuesday before we left, we had BP, which he's throwing to us, and then sometimes the machine throws to us. So we're getting different speeds and adjustments, so we can if it's a fast pitcher we can get on, and if it's a slow pitcher we can get on it. And I think that's helped us the most. And when we get out on the field, we take infield, outfield, and then we take some BP, and then game situations, which I think is the best.
Mm-hmm. What part of the ball game have you yet to master?
Probably blocking. I like to pick the ball a lot.
Well, as a catcher, that's a really, really important job.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of hard too. since I play middle infield too, I mean, I'm used to picking the ball, so I try to pick the ball behind home plate, and I can't do it sometimes. So that leads to pass balls, and then Coach Knight yells at me sometimes, and then a run scores if a pass ball goes by. So sometimes if a run scores, it's on me, but my teammates pick me up.
Do your parents root you on, so to speak, or encourage you verbally to, way to go, or you'll get it the next time?
Sometimes it depends on what I do. Most of the time they try to encourage me, but I'm like, I can do better than that. And then sometimes they're like, I'm ashamed of you. I mean, I can't believe you did that. But I try to pick my head up and move on.
Coach Knott, do you prefer parents, and I'm going to be very touchy here when I say this, but do you prefer parents not to make too much noise or to make a lot of noise?
Well, couple of years, here's the thing. You have to accept the fact that they are the parents of the players you're coaching. And we've done a good job as a community understanding that there is a line, and sometimes when things aren't going well, I've told the players in my teams before that whatever starts in the crowd, be it animosity over kids playing, kids not playing, if that ever makes it to the dugout, the season's probably going to be unsuccessful. And I've been fortunate enough to have parents buy in, and they give me the leeway to coach their child, their son, and I fully appreciate that.
Does the crowd rattle can the crowd rattle a baseball player?
Absolutely. Absolutely they can.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, Paul, we haven't had the issue, but we have seen opponents where they're more worried about their individual success as opposed to team success. So we do whatever we can to make sure that we're team first, team oriented, and I don't believe a crowd bothers us. I think we feed off the energy. I told the boys this year when we started, here's a simple fact of the matter. We're the best team in the state, and that's been proven. We're not bragging. And until somebody beats you in Hendersonville, you're still the best team in the state. So you will always get everybody else's best game.
You want to piggyback that for a second,
I was going to
Graham?
say, there's always a phrase that Coach Knott says every year. Doesn't matter if it's a big game, little game, or a state championship game, the 3-word, or he'll say, I'll call the dogs off. And that one had made me run through a brick wall. He used to hype me up so much. And sometimes he'd say it, and I'd just laugh it off until we had, energy vampires and, all the energy in the dugout be away, and we'd lose to not a very good team. And then he'd be looking at us and be like, I told you. He'd do that all the time.
And the players all knew what that meant.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This year especially we needed it just because us 8th graders, we knew what it was like to play in those state championship games. And, we were dead. The last 4 innings of the state championship, I was yelling, Case and Spalding was yelling, and I think Colin was yelling a little bit, and the 6th graders were just, about to fall asleep over there. And I'll never forget this. So we have this kid named Corn Dog, Cooper Nanny. He's like my little brother. He's just like Colin. He stood up on the bench and yelled, "Come on, let's go." He goes, "We got 3 more innings of this." He said, "I'm ready to go home." And we did that. We scored about 5 runs in the next inning. Won state championship. He said, "Let's go home."
I don't have much time left in our program today, but there are some things that I think you 2 athletes probably have some really good recommendations, encouragement words for parents of young kids that are starting out at maybe the 4th or the 5th grade level and want to get onto the middle school program.
I'll say one thing. Do not wear the wrong shirt to practice, because if you do, you're going to regret it. Yeah, and wear tennis shoes and pants, because I made that mistake this year. It did not help at all. Sliding on the turf field in shorts was not. And once you get out there, like as a 6th grader in first year, just don't be like petty if you're not playing, and you should be. I wouldn't say you made a mistake my first year, and I got out on the field finally, and I was a little mad that I wasn't playing my 6th grade year at the beginning of the year, and some of my friends were, and that didn't help me at all just because Coach Knott saw it, and he was like, well, if you're going to be petty about it and be mad about it, then we're just going to wait a little longer. And then once I realized, all right, I'm going to do what I can to help the team in the dugout, get the energy levels up and help the team out, just picking people's heads up, and I guess it's when you put me out there.
Let me slide that back down here to Colin for just a moment. Colin, we talked about the wins. We've talked about the state championship. What games were you most disappointed in that the team lost in? I mean,
especially the first Union City.
You need to come closer to the mic. There you go.
Especially the first Union City game we played. We didn't play that good. We had like 1 hit, I think, and we left 12 people on base. I mean,
that was when we were still figuring out the lineup.
I mean, yeah, we were still figuring out the lineup then, but like we left 12 men on base. I mean, you gotta.
So that's a hurt right there.
Yeah, okay. you gotta figure out a way to get them people in. We lost the game by 1, so if we could have got 2 more of them people in and left 10 people on base, we still win. But we didn't play that good. And then the Milan game, we played about probably the worst game we've played all year. It was bad. We had like 1 hit throughout the whole team.
4 errors.
Like 4 errors out there. It was bad.
Coach Knott, let me ask you before we hang up here, but the question that I guess I ask you is, what are the things that you don't want kids to do? And I'm not talking about things outside of the ball game. I'm talking about what do they don't want to do, shouldn't want to do on the field.
Be selfish. If the situation calls for a bunt, bunt. If the situation calls for you to move a runner over, move a runner over. Be a team player. Team first, team first, team first. We have 3 things I like to tell the kids every year, and I reiterate it over time. 3 keys to be in any ball game at any level. Throw strikes, make the routine plays, and put the ball in play, preferably on the ground or in a line drive, because at this level, people have to catch it, people have to throw it, and somebody else has to catch it.
Give me the non-tangibles or the intangibles now that you would want them to know.
Oh, run out. When things happen, be a teammate. If somebody needs to chase a foul ball, chase a foul ball. If somebody needs to give a high five, give a high five. If you've got a teammate that wants to talk to you and encourage you, be a supportive listener. If you want a coach that needs to talk to you, whether it be positive or whether we need to reinforce it throughout the team, please be a good listener, be a great teammate, because teammates can take you so far, Paul.
And what about parents? Parents,
be supportive. Continue to be supportive. Great things are happening at Martin Middle School. Great things are happening at Martin Middle School athletics. And it starts at the middle school level and will go through high school. And the more parents are on board, the more fun the ride will be.
Has it been a good ride?
It has been a wonderful ride, Paul.
Graham?
I always say this, and you can tell your dad this, Colin. Coach Knott has 1 more state championship than Coach Haskins does. We can always put that on Coach Haskins.
I didn't say that, Paul. I didn't say that.
I think this has been a really good insight about what's going on at Martin Middle School's baseball team. Graham, you and Colin, very good here on the radio today, and I appreciate y'all coming in here to spend this time. And Coach, let me just say congratulations again. I know the community is very proud of Martin Middle Chargers winning the state championship, and let's see if you can do 3.
Thank you so much, Paul. We're going to try.
That's our program today here on 30 Minutes. We've been talking with Coach Aaron Knott, along with a couple of baseball players in middle school, Graham Simpson and Colin Haskins. This is Paul Tinkle, pre-recorded. Thanks for listening to 30 Minutes.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.